You know that feeling, right? That invisible friction on a project, that frustrating misstep, or that goal that just slips through your fingers? So often, the real culprit is communication. But what if we could take that common frustration and actually turn it into a genuine superpower? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to build a blueprint for making communication your most powerful tool for success.
I mean, think about it. This quote from Simpler is so spot on, isn't it? We've all been there. We've all seen a great idea or a critical project just completely fall apart. And when you really dig in and trace it back, you almost always find the same thing hiding at the root: poor communication. It's like the ghost in the machine, really, the hidden source of so much failure at work.
So, this really brings up the big question, right? How do we break this cycle? How do we stop just leaving communication to chance and start being intentional about it? Well, that's our mission today. We're going to build a practical framework, piece by piece, that you can actually use to create a strategy that works. Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we're going to start at the very top with the leadership foundation. This is all about creating the right system. Then we'll dive into two core skills: the art of listening, which is all about receiving information, and the science of persuasion, which is about sending it. After that, we'll see how all this stuff applies in the modern digital world. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into your complete communication blueprint. All right, first up, the leadership foundation. And look, this part is absolutely crucial because you can have all the individual skills in the world, but they can only take you so far. Truly great communication has to be baked right into the DNA, the operating system of an organization. And that system, it's always driven from the top. So, just how big is this problem? Well, get this. Research from MIT found that only 13%, just 13%, of frontline managers can actually name their company's top strategic priorities. Let that sink in for a second. That is a staggering disconnect. It points to a fundamental failure of alignment, and it all starts with how information is flowing, or maybe how it's not flowing through a company. The fix for this really is to shift the entire model. The old waterfall approach, that's a one-way street. Information just cascades down from the top, and there's really no room for feedback to come back up. It's slow, it's rigid. Think of it like those old yearly software releases. But the agile approach? That's a whole different ballgame. It's a dynamic, two-way conversation. It's a continuous loop that keeps everyone aligned and able to adapt on the fly, more like ongoing app updates. Okay, so once we have the right system in place, it's time to zoom in on the first core individual skill. And honestly, this might just be the most underrated superpower in the entire professional world. I'm talking about the art of listening. And I don't mean just passively hearing words. I mean actively decoding meaning. Yeah, the formal term for this is active listening. And I love this definition. Calling it the Rosetta Stone of leadership is just perfect. Because think about it. Just like that stone unlocked the meaning of ancient hieroglyphs, active listening unlocks a real, true understanding of other people. It's a conscious choice you make to tune into the whole message, not just the words, but the tone, the body language, the pauses, everything. Now, this might sound a little abstract, but it's actually a skill you can learn. Dr. Robert Bolton breaks it down into three parts. First, you've got attending skills. That's your nonverbal stuff, showing you're actually focused. Then there are following skills. This is about creating space for the other person to talk, using silence and little prompts. And finally, you have reflecting skills. This is where you close the loop, paraphrasing what you heard to make sure you got it right. And check this out. This is a perfect example of how even a small physical change can make a huge difference, especially with those attending skills. On the left, that desk is literally a barrier, but look at the right. By just turning the desk and creating an open seating area, you've removed that physical wall. You're sending a clear signal that you're open and ready to listen. It just makes connection the default. All right, so we've talked about the art of receiving information. Now let's flip the coin and look at how to send it effectively. This is the science of persuasion. And let me be clear, this is not about manipulation. It's about ethically and clearly moving people to action for a shared goal. Effective persuasion always starts with the messenger, with you. Just think for a second about a speaker who totally captivated you. I bet they weren't just credible or smart. They were probably also really sincere. You could feel their passion, they showed empathy, and they were just likable, right? It's that whole package that builds real trust and makes people want to listen. And the great thing is, this isn't some magical art. It can be broken down into a simple, repeatable process called the need satisfaction model. It's just 4 steps. Step 1, grab their attention. Step 2, establish the need, spell out the problem. Step 3, provides satisfaction. This is your solution and why it's great. And finally, step 4, a clear call to action. That's it. Attention, need, satisfaction, action. Okay, so we've got these powerful skills, listening and persuasion. Now we have to apply them where most of us work and communicate today, online. The fundamental principles are exactly the same, but the rules of the game, well, they definitely need a modern update. I love this quote from Forbes because it really nails how high the stakes are. Think about it. In a world of nonstop emails, Slack messages, and Zoom calls, your digital etiquette makes a way bigger impression than knowing which fork to use. Every single message you send is either building or hurting your professional reputation. Okay, here's a classic example we've all seen. Sending a message that just says, "Can I ask you a question?" It's a real pet peeve for a reason. It puts all the mental work on the other person. They have to stop what they're doing and wonder, oh man, what is this about? The better way is so much more respectful. Just get straight to it. I have a question about the Q4 report. Do you have 5 minutes? It gives context, it sets expectations, and it's just efficient. And it's the same thing with using too much slang. Yeah, it might feel a little faster to type thanks or mub, but honestly, it can come across as unprofessional or even a little dismissive. When it comes to business communication, the key is this: clarity and professionalism always beat shorthand, every time. All right, we've covered a ton of ground here, right? We started with the big picture systems, then dove into the personal skills of listening and persuading, and we wrapped up with the modern rules of digital etiquette. So now let's put it all together into one simple, cohesive blueprint that you can actually use. So here it is, the complete framework. It all starts with the system, making sure your organization has an agile, two-way communication model. Then it's about your skills for receiving information through active listening and for sending it using that persuasion model. And finally, it's all about applying these in the right arena, the digital world. This isn't just a recap. It's a powerful framework you can use to build better relationships and get way better results. So I'm going to leave you with one final question, a challenge, really. Looking at this blueprint, what is the one skill you're going to practice this week? Just one. Maybe it's focusing on not interrupting in your next meeting, or maybe you'll try structuring an important email using that attention, need, satisfaction model. Whatever it is, just pick one, because that's where the real change starts. Thanks for coming along.